AI Advantage: Transforming Operational Headaches into Smart Solutions.
So transforming operational headaches into smart solutions. And I really believe that the stage of AI today is about harnessing AI. I believe that whoever manages to harness AI will have a very big advantage over the others who are taking their time, of course. But let's start from the very basics. What is AI? Of course, I'm not going to define AI, not to bore you to death, but a lot of people know what is AI, but when it comes to the nitty-gritty, they have no idea. So basically, AI is all about having computers, machines, doing things which we consider to be intelligent. So if that function can be done by a human, and we replicate it on a machine, then it will be considered as artificial intelligence. Mind you, artificial intelligence is not something new. It's been around for 70 years. In fact, fun fact, last Sunday, the term artificial intelligence actually was coined 70 years ago. Okay, so it was the first proposal about AI. Now, some people tell me, is AI the chosen one? And I chose the word one for a reason. Why? Because a lot of people think about AI in the singular. And they say, because AI did this, AI did that. My AI did not work. My AI worked really well. How is that possible? Well, it's very easy, because AI is not just one thing. It's actually a series of many different things, a series of technologies. And that is why I emphasize the fact on the one. It's not one, but rather it's a spectrum of different technologies. And different technologies have different levels of intelligence. You find the dumbest part of technologies, maybe some automation, maybe things that open and close windows, up to the super complex AI, such as self-driving cars. Today, we're talking a lot about AI, really, but we're talking about what we call generative AI, which was only developed in the past 5-10 years. But really and truly, AI is much more than that. And actually, if you go to the more traditional kind of AI, you might find very robust solutions that cater for your needs. Is AI just a big fat bubble? This is something which I've been hearing over and over again. I'm sorry to delude you, but it's not. It's here to stay. And the reason is that AI is a very mature technology. As I mentioned before, it's been around for 70 years now, most of it in the labs or in universities, but now it's reaching the level of commercialization. It's good enough to be used in industry. And I'm saying that because today's AI is being considered as what we call superhuman level. So it means that in certain functions, it is much, much better than human, and no other human can ever reach that level of intelligence. So yes, AI is here to stay. Doesn't mean that all AI is good, it's giving benefits, etc. But the wave of AI will only increase in the coming years. Okay, so how do you implement AI? Well, you have a project and you sprinkle some AI, okay? It's not like that, okay? AI works very different than normal software. And thinking that, you just add a few components of AI here and there, it's not the solution. So you need to think about how to implement AI, how to implement projects with AI, and not having AI as an afterthought. Because AI, it's not just about the algorithm. One of the things I didn't mention about is, for example, the element of data. Data is extremely important for AI. Why? Because AI is very much data hungry. So you need to think about the whole process and not just about adding a few algorithms here and there at the end. It's a kind of magic? Not really, okay? So even though you might have heard a lot about, the famous black box that nobody knows how it works, it's not exactly like that, all right? We know how it works. There are no secrets, no magic, no sentience, okay? So that's very important. But really and truly, when we're talking about large models, like the large language models, ChatGPT, etc., we're talking about billions of parameters, massive billions of parameters. So can you imagine how complex it is to take a decision inside these models? And that is why we can't understand what's happening inside them. Not because we don't know how they work, but of course, when you're talking about billions of parameters, it's impossible for the human brain to understand that. So I'm sorry to break it, but there is no magic behind AI. Now, this is something very important, and I would like to emphasize it. Recently, I've been meeting a lot of people, and they tell me, we are turning your legacy systems into cutting-edge, innovative solutions by sticking a label called agentic AI. All right? I'm pretty sure that, when you meet vendors, they all tell you that all their software suddenly is using AI. And the most modern software suddenly is using agentic AI, because that's the new buzzword, okay? It doesn't work like that, all right? I'm sorry to break it again. Agentic AI is a specific part of AI. It's a very important part of AI. It's not new. I know I look old, but 20 years ago, I was working on agentic AI. Of course, it didn't happen back then because the technology was not ripe enough, but now the technology is ripe and it will happen. Having said that, even though I truly believe that agentic AI will offer a lot of benefits to the AI ecosystem, I don't think it is mature enough today. Okay? Having said that, it will play a very important role in the coming years. So please be careful when everybody just is splashing agentic AI all over the place as if it's the next big thing. And of course, this leads me to the noise. Okay? If you go through different vendors, they will promise everything. It's the next best thing since the invention of sliced bread, okay? But it's digital bread, of course. And there's a lot of noise on the market. But did you ever think about whether your organization is already ready for AI? What is the level of readiness? And if you have this question, I invite you to look at that QR code, and there's a very quick analysis of your organization. And it will tell you exactly whether your organization is ready for AI and up what level it's ready. Why am I saying this? Because this is not about, selling systems, but it's about having AI giving you real benefits. If the AI is not giving you tangible benefits, then why implement AI? Just to have a label? It shouldn't be like that. But the real AI gives real value to organizations. And I'm a true believer that, if you implement AI as it should, then your organization will have a lot of benefits, much more than your competitors. Some of the things which really strikes me, especially when I speak with organizations, is that many of them do not consider the opportunity loss. Just last week, somebody told me, if it's not broken, why fix it? Well, fair enough, but if you're actually losing money by keeping the status quo, then you're actually making a loss. And a lot of people do not realize this. And this is an actually figure from some work which we did. This is an invoicing processing system. Today, these systems are incredible. I mean, they can process any kind of invoices, irrespective of the format which they have. So imagine a system which processes 12,000 invoices per year. It takes 5 minutes for someone to process manually, and that means you have the salary of a junior accountant all day typing and inputting these forms. You can easily replicate that with an AI today. I mean, the level of sophistication is much better than any junior accountant. I've placed 20% error rate, just to be generous, because it's much less than that. And the savings amount to around 16,000 euros just because of you're saving the time, most of the time of that junior accountant. So this is a small win, but all companies have a lot of these quick wins. And unfortunately, they're not doing anything about it, because since it's not broken, why do something about it? So, how do you choose an AI project? There are 5 things that I recommend. First of all, who is the team behind the project? Be careful, because suddenly, since there is the AI wave, every company has become an AI company. But not everyone has the expertise of being an AI company. So what is the team? What is their track record? Proprietary scalable technologies. Today, it's incredibly easy to create quick solutions, okay? But when it comes to scale those solutions, then you start facing problems. So it's not just about coming with something quick and dirty, but then it's about how to scale it up to actually make it work for your organization. Data. I cannot stress enough the importance of data. I remember we had a very big project with one of the largest companies in Malta. It took us 6 months to clean the data which they have. So, gathering the data, removing data which was unusable, processing the data, etc., etc. Within 2 weeks, we managed to have the first prototype of an AI solution. It wasn't complete, but the transition from getting good data to actually AI prototype is really easy. But the data is fundamental. And here we're not just talking about quantity of data, we're talking about the quality of data, the data in the right format. So data can be complex, but if you have the right data, then the rest is really easy. IP and compliance, remember, especially in this conference, compliance is a very big thing, and AI can definitely automate a lot of that process. And finally, market validation and financial realism. Sometimes we work on projections. Projections, they promise you the world, all right, but we have to be realistic about what AI can do. As I always say, even to my team, we can do everything with AI, but we can't do anything, all right? So you have to be realistic about the real tangible benefits that AI can give you. So what are the ABC of a quick AI safety check? So what happens to you is most of the time people come with AI solutions. They promise, as I said, the moon, all right? And I suggest three things. First of all, the aim. What is the aim? A document that describes why you're doing this, what kind of data it is, the sources, the validation used, etc. So at least, you get an understanding of how the system works. B, the benchmarking. So, is it a new software? Is it something that has been tried and tested? Was it tested on something that was similar to yours? If not, then of course go for a pilot, a quick pilot. Doesn't have to be anything complex, but at least you are validating. And finally, control. As I always say, AI will eventually fail. It's not perfect. It's really good, but it's not perfect. So when you fail, you want some safeguards. And that is where the control comes into place. So let me give you an example. And I decided to show you a small example of a spam filter. So a spam filter is an AI which you all use in your mailboxes. It actually goes through your emails and decides whether it's a spam or not. Okay, so if we would like to implement a spam filter, the first is the aim. So what is the aim? What is the purpose behind it? Okay, what data has been used? Is it past data? Is the data representative of my data that I'm currently using? Is it about sensitive information? Does it handle sensitive information, the spam filter? How was it checked? What were the actual checks done on the data? And where it struggled. There is no AI system that doesn't struggle with anything. Okay, so it's very important to understand where it can fail. Okay, so the first one is to understand and have clear aims. The second one is about the benchmark. So, request results about what have been done, what has been tested, how has it been tested, on which data was it tested, is the data similar to yours? Because you might have some fantastic results, but the data is totally different than what you had. Okay, so you need to be sure that it was tested on comparable data. If not, of course, the easiest thing to do is to do a quick pilot. So by running a quick pilot, you can solve that out, and you get all the statistics about these checks. And finally, the control. As I said, things will go wrong, all right? No AI system is infallible. It will make mistakes. So when things go wrong, how will you sort them out? So what are we watching? Weekly checks, complaints of people. What is acceptable and what is not? Is it acceptable to miss 2% of emails? Is it acceptable not to miss an email? Okay, so you have to decide these. And once these happen, how shall we act? Maybe we speak with someone. Maybe we revert some solutions. Okay, so we need a plan to do what happens when we revert things. So I believe that once you have these three elements, I think you can take your solutions. Now, of course, the million-dollar questions which I get asked most of the time is where should you start? And I always say the same thing. Two things. One of them is the low-hanging fruits. So, the things that give you benefit. And the second one is the pain points. If you can combine the pain points with the low-hanging fruits, then you know from where you should start with your solution. Why do you start from here? Well, because really and truly, you need to get people engaged with AI. A lot of people still do not understand AI and its benefits. So you need to get quick results so that once you solve your problem with AI, then you move to harder problems and keep on doing like that, of course, with the blessing of management. That was all from my end. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone has any questions? Because I'm happy to... Yes, Stefan. I'm getting the mic. Thank you.
Thank you for an excellent presentation. No mathematician in the world can explain the mechanism of a deep neural network. So yes, there is still magic to be explored, right?
No. No.
No?
No.
So can you explain it?
We know how it works. The problem is the parameters. When they grow, it's very hard to understand how the decision was taken. Remember, this is just a network. No? So if it's a small network of a few of a few nodes, we can understand how the decision passed through the network. But when we're talking about billions and billions of these, it's impossible even for us to comprehend how that happens. So that is really the problem.
Well, isn't that the magic if it starts to train by itself because we don't know what actually happens? Isn't that the core of the problem?
No, the core of the problem is how the decision was taken, why it was taken. So remember, one of the issues with black box approach is that it's very hard to explain the decision. Okay, in fact, there's a specific subfield called explainable AI, specifically for that. And in fact, there are some approach, I don't know how familiar you are, but for example, one of them is called LIME. So it tries to map how the decisions were taken. But, you know, when things get so complex, it's almost impossible for us to comprehend that. But it's not because we don't understand how the network works.
We do not have to agree on everything. Still an excellent presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone? Any more questions? Anyway, you will have a very good chance to catch up with Professor Dingley off stage. Make sure to have a meaningful conversation. And thanks again
Thank you.
for your excellent presentation. Bravo.